Om. 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 Sairam. Just to recollect where we were last week, Swami is talking about the Bharati Paramartha Vahini, how violence was not part of Bharata, even though there were various different faiths which were prevalent, even in spite of the attacks on the Sanatana Dharma or Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini, they still put up with them, or sometimes even they respected them. There were differences, but no one resorted to violence until the foreign influences came on the scene, and that is after that there has been violence in the Bharatiya, the Desha, Bharata Desha, Swami says. And Swami speaks about Max Muller and says that everyone should enter this stream of Bharatiya thought. That was the request of Max Muller, is what Swami says. And Swami also talked about Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. That should be the root principle which should support everyone. Those were the words of Swami which we discussed. So we'll continue from where we left off. Saira.
Bharatiyas grown up in the culture of India have deep faith in the equality of all faiths. Whether it is Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Zoroastrianism, or Christianity, they believe that no one should talk lightly in the worship of God. They believe that when anyone talks lightly on any one of the names of God or any of the forms of God whom others adore, they are insulting the one God. This was the message held forth by the Indian way of spiritual life. Those who have learned this truth and adhere to it are the real sons and daughters of India. This truth is beyond the grasp of all. Not all can achieve this knowledge. Who is the ruler of the universe? Who is it that stands outside it and guides it? What is the cause of the existence of this cosmos? Whence did this originate? How did it happen? What caused this existence? The Vedas have many writs dealing with these mysteries. Bharatiyas have probed into them.
Thank you. Until you will read the Telugu.
Yeah. Sairam.
Sairam.
భారతీయులలో సమత్వము రెండు.
Among the Bharatiyas, equality is overflowing. It's full.
హిందూ
what shall I say?
హిందూ మతమో, బౌద్ధ మతమో, మహమ్మదీయ మతమో, జొరాష్ట్ర మతమో, క్రిస్తు మతమో ఏదిగా ఉన్నను దైవారాధనను ఎవరును పరిహసించకూడదనియు.
Whether one is Hindu, Buddhist, Islam, Muslim, or Zoroastrian, or Christian, whatever it is, one should not one should not make fun of worshipping God.
ఏ రూపనామమును పరిహసించినను ఒకే దైవమును పరిహసించినట్లుగా అనియు భారతీయ పరమార్థ ప్రచారము చేసెను.
Whichever form one makes fun of, the same God is made fun of. This is the proclamation of the Bharatiya Paramartha, or the supreme goal.
ఈ సత్యాన్ని నేర్చిన వారే నిజమైన భారతీయులు.
Those who have understood this truth or learnt it are the real Bharatiyas.
దీనిని అందరూ గుర్తింపజాలరు.
This cannot be known by everyone.
జగత్తును పరిపాలించువాడు, జగత్తులో దాని వెలుపల నిలిచి పరిపాలించువాడు, జగత్తు యొక్క ఉనికికి కారణము వివరింపగలదా? వివరింపజాలదు.
Who protects, looks after this world, who remains within and established there, who protects everything, who is the reason for the existence of world, who is the cause, this cannot be, can anyone explain this?
No. ఈ జగత్తు ఎక్కడి నుండి వచ్చినది?
It cannot be done. From where did this earth creation come about?
ఎట్లు వచ్చినది?
How did it come about?
ఎట్లు ఉనికిని దాల్చినది?
How is it remaining? It's exists. Dalchinadi means ante
How did its existence come about?
Okay.
ఈ విషయమును గూర్చిన రుక్కులు భారతదేశమున అనేకము కలవు.
There are many ruks, or the verses in the Vedas. There are many which describe this, or which are related to these topics in the Vedas, in the Bharata, the country of Bharat.
I think she stopped there. Yeah.
One more sentence is Bharati has probed into them. It's yes.
సృష్టి అనగా వస్తువుల యొక్క సంయోగము.
I know, that's all. Okay, that's thank you, Auntie. So Swami is telling who is a Bharatiya. Swami is defining, and we should not talk lightly or make fun of anyone worshipping any form or name of God. As Swami says, I will stop here. If anyone would like to share any thoughts, please go ahead.
Swami says భారతీయులలో సమత్వము మెండు. మెండున
Full, Auntie.
మెండు.
Mendu.
Is there any other meaning?
No, Auntie, abundant.
Abundant.
It's much abundant, that's all.
Yeah.
So Swami is just summarizing whatever we discussed. I guess Swami has discussed.
In the last paragraph, Swami was talking about how various different forms of different religions try to destroy Sanatana Dharma in some ways. And then here Swami saying, one should not make fun of worshipping anybody worshipping any god. So like when there's somebody or a group of people like who are practicing Sanatana Dharma, for example, and they're faced by a violent group of people who are practicing a different religion, how do they kind of keep both of those things?
See, I think it's a bit of a challenge. Generally, I think that's why the Varnas are, set up such a way. There's a Varna called Kshatriya who provide protection. They have to protect the Dharma. So that is their role. And whether, what they want to do or not, there's always going to be challenge. So even if you look at ancient India, to establish dharma, the Bharata war itself was waged. The Bharata war, which Krishna was, orchestrating also. So they fought not because of anger, but just to protect dharma, re-establish dharma. So I think that is part of, that is not considered violent. Even when they waged wars, there were certain rules which everyone followed, and there was some dharma in how we wage war also. But the type of violence which was inflicted in India was not of that nature. It was very adharmic violence. Um, I think that's what it is. So Swami says the people never hated. People didn't even tell those people that what they are saying is wrong. Also, they let them pursue their path. It's a live and let live philosophy. But and there are other places where Swami would say, if somebody were to, that's what we studied in the Gita Vahini. Arjuna was told, look here, you're fighting only to re-establish dharma. And for that, you have to do whatever you have to do as a Kshatriya. I think that's what Swami is saying here. So I think defense, self-preservation are also an equal part of dharma. So I will leave it at that. But I think what Swami was saying is, don't look down upon others. Even if they look down upon you, don't look down upon, because they are also trying to worship the same Lord. I think that's the idea. So I will stop here. That's my understanding, but I will ask others to also opine what they say. See, maybe in this context, Swami, in one discourse, Swami says, everything should have a limit. Sometimes he says, even tolerance also has to have a limit. Okay, so he gives the story of a king in India. I think I'm not getting his name. Who let his enemy go, so many times, and he could have captured him, killed him, or whatever. But then what happened? That fellow came back and got him and killed him also. I'm not getting the name. Auntie may remember the name. Auntie, this
Mo-
king, Muhammad Rafni,
Mohammed Ghazni.
Ghazni. Who did he kill, Auntie?
I don't exact, but he invaded India 17 times.
No, he's not Muhammad Ghazni. See, one king. Swami is talking about an Indian king who let. Anyway, I will get the name. So in that one discourse, Swami is telling that also should be practiced with discrimination. Who you pardon, who you let go. I think Chauhan, Prithviraj Chauhan, Auntie?
Prithviraj Chauhan, Irkla.
Is it Prithviraj Chauhan?
Irkla. Prithviraj Chauhan, Irkla.
Yeah, I think Prithviraj Chauhan. So he basically, Swami, in one discourse, Swami is talking about that. I think Prithviraj. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but something like that.
Okay. I too don't know. Arun.
I will next time I will bring it.
What happened exactly? Please tell the story.
I think it's a king. Each time one fellow came to attack him.
He allowed him to do that.
So I will read it. So it's 1st April 1995. Okay. I will read from the discourse. So maybe I can share. Okay, sure. I will read. Many strange things are likely to happen in this new year. Ingratitude is rampant. Not only are people forgetting all the good that is done to them, but they are doing harm to those who have helped them. History provides a bitter example of such ingratitude. You are aware of Gori Muhammad, who invaded India several times and plundered the country. At last, in one encounter with Rana Prithviraj, he
Prithviraj.
was defeated and captured by Prithviraj. Prithviraj pardoned him and let him off. Later on, by nefarious methods, Gauri caught Prithviraj. Then he decided to put an end to Prithviraj's life. At that time, the divine intervened in answer to Prithviraj's prayers. An arrow released by Prithviraj went straight to Gauri's neck and severed his head. This evildoer was punished by the Lord. The lesson is clear. Don't harbor ill will towards anybody. Don't do harm to others. Get rid of doubts. That's so. In many places, Swami has talked about it. So in one discourse, he's saying, Swami,
It was not Chauhan, it was only
Prithviraj, sorry.
Chauhan. Yeah. The king was there.
So this. See, okay, I will read this from, okay, I found the discourse. 26 June 1988, that's a discourse. I will read it again. Despite all the progress in scientific knowledge, man has not learned the real purpose of education and has not developed a sense of gratitude. One without gratitude is worse than a wild beast. Doing good in return for good done is nothing to boast about. Real goodness consists in doing good even to one who has done you harm. But in applying this principle, discrimination should be used. History is full of examples of misconceived generosity and forgiveness. Muhammad Ghori invaded India several times and was defeated by Prithviraj, who let him go back as a sign of his spirit of magnanimity. Ultimately, Muhammad Ghori conspired with Jaychandra to take Prithviraj a prisoner. Instead of showing gratitude to Prithviraj for his magnanimity, Ghori Muhammad gouged the eyes of Prithviraj. History teaches us that no quarter should be given to wicked persons who are treacherous and ungrateful.
Okay.
In rendering service to needy people, students should remember these lessons from life and use their discrimination and intelligence.
Yeah.
So Swami is giving an example, so don't be indiscriminate in your goodness also.
Yeah.
So actually about Prithviraj, Swami has spoken a few times. This was one of the discourses where Swami says, you need to know, even if you have to show goodness, where you are showing, the purpose should be to uphold dharma in the world. Not necessarily, you just do it indiscriminately.
In Tamil, we say, Patra Marinda Danamidu.
Patra Marinda Pichai.
Pichai. You should know whom to pardon and whom.
The vessel means who the person is, what they are going to do that with that. It has to be discriminated.
Brother, this discourse is 20th June 1988?
26th
26th
June 1988.
Okay, thank you.
But there are other discourses also where Swami has spoken about it, but this is one discourse. I didn't find the audio for this one, but there is another one which I had listened to. Audio itself, I have listened. Audio discourse also. Yes, Swami is talking about this. So, but I think even though you may have to protect yourself, do self-defense or whatever you want to do, self-preservation, Swami still doesn't want us to talk ill of others' beliefs. I think that's the point. We should not talk ill of others' beliefs.
Even if it's their belief in God, they think they're fighting for God, like, those religious crusaders and things like
Nothing
that.
to do with it's their misunderstanding or lack of understanding is the issue. Not necessarily their, nothing to do with God. That's a Swami saying, don't talk lightly of the worship. If they're worshipping, just accept it. But this is when they attack others, that's not worship. That's misplaced understanding, misunderstanding of the teachings.
when they take up the job of jihad, they call it jihad, spreading they commit all sorts of inhuman crimes.
But ultimately Swami says, don't make fun of their worship. That name of God, you should not be slighted. I think that's what Swami is saying. But this entire chapter is telling us all, enter the Bharatiya stream. These are all mushrooms. So, whatever. Or, these are small puddles by the side of the Bharatiya Vahini. But don't stick there. Enter into the Bharatiya stream. That's the call. That's the call of this chapter. Even the previous one Swami has spoken about. Because Swami wants us to not be narrowly limited by various schools of thought, which are counter to Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini, which is that single stream which takes everyone to the goal. And Swami is making us learn from the words of Max Muller. I think that's what we read last week.
Yeah, last week.
Swami says Max Muller is asking everyone, enter the stream of Bharatiya thought. Okay, if everyone is okay, maybe we can continue.
Yeah.
When some other religions are doing this kind of violence, they're fighting to uphold their what they think is their dharma or their religion. And you were talking about how Krishna is also telling Arjuna to fight to uphold dharma. But I guess Krishna's definition of dharma is more a universal dharma, not just a narrow.
Exactly.
But at some level, is there also the need to protect the culture of like the Sanatana Dharma, Bharatiya culture as well to uphold the more universal eternal truths that are there?
See, I think each individual has to uphold it to the extent possible by themselves. Dharma itself will protect itself. But the thing is, if we protect dharma, that dharma will protect us. Okay, that's all it is. So that protection means just practicing the dharma itself is sufficient. So that's why Swami is telling, when Muhammad Ghori captured Prithviraj, what he did was he plucked out his eyes. Okay. But somebody had told him this Prithviraj is a very great archer who can shoot an arrow based on the sound itself. He doesn't have to even see. So Prithviraj wanted to see that. Sorry, Muhammad Ghori wanted to witness that. So before he was put to death, he was given an arrow
And asked him
told, shoot based on the sound.
Yeah.
What Prithviraj did was, because he heard his voice, just with that, he shot an arrow and killed Muhammad Ghori.
Good.
That's a story. But because Prithviraj realized that such a fellow who is nasty is no good for the country. So he got rid of him, even though his eyes themselves were gone. So the thing is, Swami shows that as an example of the dharma itself protecting a person. Even though the other person may trick and try to vanquish, dharma will come to the help of itself and its people who followed it. I think that's the story. Of course, Prithviraj died, but that's what it is.
That capacity to shoot arrow, listening to the sound is Shabdavedi.
Yeah, Shabdavedi, which
we come across Dasharatha also had that.
Yes.
Shabdavedi.
So if somebody's attacking the country, it's self-defense is something that's, part of upholding dharma then, right?
Yes. Yes. If it's an unrighteous attack, one has to defend itself. That's also part of dharma. It's not oneself, but the culture, the faith, the knowledge has to be protected at all costs. So that's required. Okay.
Next.
Creation involves the putting together of substances. What is put together must come apart in course of time and get liberated. The individual is created, and so he has to disintegrate and die. Now, some are born happy. Some are enjoying healthy, happy lives. Some are born miserable. Others are born without hands or legs. Some are born feeble-minded or as defectives. Who hurt them or injured them? God is proclaimed as just and kind. It can be argued, how can such a God ever be so partial and prejudiced? How can such differential treatment come into the realm ruled by God? Such doubts are natural. But the vision of the sages of Bharat, who molded the thought of this land, revealed to them that God is not the cause of these differences. These are the consequences of the acts indulged in by the individual in lives previous to the present one. They result in happiness and misery, health and handicaps.
Thank you.
Okay.
Auntie will read the Telugu.
సృష్టి అనగా వస్తువుల యొక్క సంయోగము.
The creation means the coming together of things.
సంయుక్త పదార్థములన్నీ కాలాంతరమున వియుక్తత నందుట తథ్యము.
All those things which have come together in time, they are, as time progresses, they will become destroyed, disintegrated.
అనగా ఆత్మ సృజింపబడినది అయ్యేనని అది మరణింపవలను కదా.
That means if Atma is something which has been created, then it has to die, shouldn't it?
కొందరు సుకులై జన్మింతురు.
Some are born happy.
పరిపూర్ణ ఆరోగ్య భాగ్యములను అనుభవింతురు.
They experience complete health.
మరికొందరు నిర్భాగ్యులై జన్మింతురు.
Some others are born as unfortunate ones.
కొందరికి కాలు చేతులు ఉండవు.
A few may not have legs or hands.
కొందరు మతిహీనులు అయి పుట్టుదురు.
Some are
born
undeveloped in their thinking, intelligence.
మతిహీనులు, they are born, yeah.
Feeble-minded is that, that's the way they have translated.
వారందరినీ సృజించిన వాడెవడు?
Who is the one who has created all these people?
అతను న్యాయశీలుడు దయామయుడు అని అందరూ కదా.
He is called one who is just and one who is compassionate. Don't people say that?
అట్టి సమదృష్టి కల పరమాత్ముడుకు ఇట్టి పక్షపాత బుద్ధి ఎలా అని వాదించవచ్చు.
People can argue and debate that how can such God who is Paramatma, who has equal mindedness, who looks at everyone equally, why should he have who should discriminate and have different treatment for different people?
పక్షపాతం అంటే ఇది చూడాలి.
Discrimination tane ante. showing differences.
Yeah, pakshapatam. One-sided affection for somebody is called pakshapatam.
Okay, oh, I see.
Pakshapatam. ఈశ్వర పరిపాలన రాజ్యములో ఇట్టి భేదములు ఏల కలుగా వలనని ఊహించవచ్చును.
In the kingdom which is governed by the Lord, these differences, how can they come about, can be guessed.
అయితే మానవుని కష్టసుఖములకు దౌర్భాగ్యములకు కారణము పరమాత్మ కాదనియు,
For the difficulties and for the unfortunate circumstances of human beings, the cause is not God.
అతని ఆ జన్మమునకు పూర్వము చేసిన కర్మలే కారణం.
The actions which were performed in the previous lifetimes are the cause.
స్పష్టపరుచున్నది భారతీయ పరమాత్మ వాహిని.
The river of Bharatiya thought establishes this truth.
ఇది కూడా నెక్స్ట్ లైన్ is also there. ఇవి స్వయం కృతములు.
No, auntie.
It's not there. Yeah.
So Swami is bringing about, explaining to us the philosophy of karma, which is one of the main features of the Sanatana Dharma. And rebirth and karma are two integrated principles within Sanatana Dharma, which are the only logical explanation for different circumstances of people who are born in this world. No other religion will be able to explain that. That what causes these differences among many different people. No other religion has any philosophical explanation for that. Whereas Bharatiya thought, I said, it's nothing to do with God. God is just a witness, but the actions done by people in their past lives before their current birth is the cause of their current circumstances. So Swami wants to establish that here. And Swami says, Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini establishes that firmly, this thought.
Yeah.
Stop here.
Pakshapatam can be translated as partiality.
Partiality.
That's the key.
Partiality. Exactly. And thank you. I was using the word here people say discrimination.
Partiality.
Discrimination in a negative sense,
Yeah.
Some people are given preferential treatment. Partiality and preferential treatment. Pakshapad. Partiality.
There's nothing to be.
Partisanship, partiality, bias, prejudice.
Yeah, prejudice, partial.
Siding with one side.
That's correct.
Partisan, they say. Why partisan or partisan?
Partisan.
Things like that. I think this also Swami is trying to tell us that we should be wary of our own actions, because we will have to face the consequences. That also is coming through to a great extent.
Whenever we feel we are put into a lot of problems and difficulties, we always I mean, not general opinion is to blame God. Oh, Bhagawan has given us this.
He's testing.
He's testing us. But it has nothing to do with the Lord or anybody. It's our own karma. The question is, why me? Why should he? The first question comes, why me?
I think if
Yeah.
everyone is straightforward, I think if everyone is okay, we should be.
Good and bad are self-made, the effects of what was done in previous lives. Can the bodies of men and their conditions, the ups and downs men meet in life, can they not be the accumulated result of hereditary impacts and tendencies? There are two things that stand like parallel lines before us when we consider the subject mental and material. If satisfactory solutions can be found for the problems relating to human nature and its special qualities in materialism, then there can be no basis for believing that there is a factor called Atma or the soul. But it is impossible to demonstrate that the capacity to think, for example, has evolved out of physical matter. When an item of work is done again and again, it becomes a habit, a skill, is it not? Therefore, the skill or habit that a newborn exhibits must be due to constant repetition indulged in long ago. Of course, such practice must have taken place in a previous life or many lives. So it is necessary to posit the validity of the belief in past and future lives for all living beings. This is a basic belief in Bharatiya spiritual thought.
Okay.
Thank you.
We were learning about our own karma. Swami continues to say that. Ivi swayam krutamulu. Swayam krutamulu.
These are all self-made.
Self-made. We always say, swayam kruta aparada.
Yes.
That word is used. It is swayam kruta aparada. The aparada what we have done by ourselves. Purva janma karmalu మానవుల యొక్క శరీరముల పోకడలు వారికి వంశపరంపరంగా సంక్రమించిన లక్షణ. Oh, this is a long sentence. Let me read it. పూర్వజన్మ కర్మలు మానవుల యొక్క శరీరముల పోకడలు. పోకడలు means condition.
In the body, I think the body's tendencies maybe.
Yeah, tendencies.
So Swami is saying the earlier activities, actions, they are for the human mankind's or man's human beings tendencies in the bodies.
Okay. వారికి వంశపరంపరంగా సంక్రమించిన లక్షణ విశేషములుగా ఉండరాదా?
What is seen in each person's body, aren't they hereditary? Can it be not?
ఇచ్చట సమాంతర రేఖల వలె నిలిచియుండు రెండు వస్తువులు కలవు.
Here there are two parallel streaks of lines which exist.
ఒకటి మానసికము.
One is mental.
రెండవది భౌతికము.
The second one is physical.
మన స్వభావ విశేషములన్నిటికీ
For our feelings and tendencies, for all these,
భౌతిక పదార్థమునందును
in the physical substances
తత్పరిణామమునందును
and and the evolution of these, so transformation in this,
తత్పరిణామం the result of the
the result adila parinamam the transformation which
పరిణామము
evolution and appdi nenichendre
అల్ల
తత్పరిణామం
the resultant
resultant, okay,
resultant action of that result తత్పరిణామమునందును తృప్తికరమగు
satisfactory
సమాధానములు లభించినచో
if one can get the answers or resolution for those doubts.
ఆత్మ అనునది ఒకటి కలదని ఊహించుటకే అవసరం ఉండదు.
Then there will not be a need for even imagining there's something called Atma.
I didn't understand this proportionally.
What Swami is saying is, if you can solve all the problems which one encounters with just physical things which are around one, then the need for even the existence of something called Atma doesn't arise. Only because we don't have solutions for our problems in this, whatever mental attitudes we have in the physical world, there's a need for a search for something higher. I think that's what Swami is trying to say. Swami is saying, you read it again, Manas.
Now, for the full sentence.
Manas Swabhava Visheshamulanitiki. So there are differences in each of our makeup and attitude and feelings.
Yeah. భౌతిక పదార్థమునందును
in the physical substances, so in things around us in this world.
భౌతిక పదార్థము in the material world.
Material world, yes.
Yeah. తత్పరిణామము నందును because of that result of those.
So the translation, Auntie, see, what he has said is, the total translation is, if satisfactory solutions, that's tripti karamagu samadhanamu, can be found, labinchinacho, in materialism for the problems relating to human nature and its special qualities. Okay, but I think tatparinama munandunu, that means in the trans tatparinamamu, that's a word, no, which you're asking.
Yeah.
Check.
If you want to see.
I'm not getting tatparinama.
Parinamamu you can say.
Parinamam we can say.
Yeah. Parinama is result.
The result which comes out of it, Anna.
See, parinamamu, metamorphosis, transformation, change of form or state, maturity, fullness, ripeness, health, prosperity, welfare. Change, transformation. So what Swami is saying is, if there's some defect in us, in our thinking, if we can transform them,
okay,
we can change, we can bring about changes in them using physical things which are around us, in the material things which are around it. You know, for example, if you take some medicine, can your thinking change? Will you have good qualities, good thinking? If there's a pill, magic pill available to change the way we think, then Swami says, don't worry about God. There's no question of God also arises. See, if people can be made good, you can make the people good by just using things which are available in this world. Then Swami says the question of God also doesn't arise there. That means you can't solve any of these problems using things in the world. So it's a very rhetorical question Swami is asking with some satire, you know. Basically, the world cannot change, bring about change, transformation in people. Okay, so
it's a material approach.
No solution. Swami says, Tripti karamaga samadhanamu labinchu. If you can satisfactorily solve this problem by transforming people, by making people use certain material things in this world, then the question of God itself, the need for imagining whether there's God or not, doesn't even arise.
For such people, there is no God.
No, for anyone, this thought wouldn't have come about. If we can solve all the problems, we won't look for God.
Look for God.
That's the thing Swami is saying.
And next paragraph also, let me read it.
Okay. Sorry, and Auntie, before you move on, so the tat parinamamu, is it referring to
Means the change of that? Tat parimana means the change of that situation.
So is it like using all the material substances in the world and their transformation, like using them to
Yes.
create something?
Yes, see,
Yes,
our nature, okay, our nature, Visheshamulannatiki, that means the uniqueness of each person's nature, okay. For all this, Bhautika Padarthamulandunu, in the material things in this world, physically material things, Tatparinamu Nandunu, if they can grant you a transformation, bring about a change. Tripti Karamagu Samadhanamulu, that means satisfactory solutions. Okay. Labinchinacho, if you can obtain from these physical things. Atma Yunnadi Okkati Kaladani. There is Atma, there is something like that. Uhinchutake, to imagine or inquire, avasaram undadu. There won't be a reason for that. See, basically, for all the human problems, if you can't find solution, especially for the type of people there, the nature of each person, if you can bring about a solution from the worldly objects, then the question of need for a God or whether he exists or even whether you have Atman does not arise. That's what Swami says.
Here, mana swabhava, mana means our
swabhava.
Okay. And then what is nandunu? Tatparinamam.
In
Tatparinamamu nu andunu, or something like that,
Tatparinamamu nandunu. Yeah.
In it.
It reaches, it gets the transformation.
Yes.
Tatparinamamu nandunu. It will reach andunu.
Okay. So we're talking about the evolution of ourselves, right?
Yes. Anduko means take, receive it.
Receive it.
Swami will say, Anduko. Swami says, Idu premanu penchu. Anduko. Accept God's grace, receive it. Something like that. That's so that's what Swami says. Tatparinamamunu andunu. That means you will be able to attain transformation. Okay, and the satisfactory solution is obtained. Triptikaramagu samadhanamulu labinchinacho.
Swami is speaking about such people who don't have any, who can solve problems, material problems, mental problems by themselves.
Yes.
So they don't have any necessity to believe in God. In God.
Yes.
But that's not possible, right? Because Swami is saying there's two parallel lines previous to that sentence.
Yeah.
So in the physical world, there's nothing. It's parallel, so it can't ever.
Yes. So then Swami goes on to, I think somebody has put a comment. I don't know, Sister Shilpa is saying, as a result of. Thank you, Sister.
Can I read the Telugu translation?
Yes, Auntie, continue. We can continue. But
చింతనా శక్తి భౌతిక పదార్థముల నుండి ఉత్పన్నమైనది.
The ability to think has come from just physical material things.
అని నిరూపించుటకు అసంభవము.
It is not possible to prove that.
ఒక్క పనినే మాటిమాటికి చేయుచుండుటయే కదా అభ్యాసము.
So isn't it practice to do the same thing again and again?
కావున అప్పుడే జన్మించిన ఆత్మయందు
Therefore, the Atma which is just born, newborn,
చూపించు స్వాభావిక అభ్యాసములు
whatever it demonstrates, whatever tendencies it demonstrates,
పునః పునరాచరణము వలనే సిద్ధించుండును.
it could have come about only through repetitive actions.
అని చెప్పక తప్పదు.
One has to state this is the only, so it has to be stated. One cannot but state it.
One cannot but state.
One cannot but state it. Yes.
ఈ అభ్యాసములు ఈ జన్మమున ఆర్జించుకోబడినవి కావు.
All these practices have not come about in this lifetime.
కనుక పునర్జన్మ నుండియే తీరును.
Therefore, it's only possible through rebirth.
అని బోధించున్నదే భారతీయ పరమార్థ వాహిని.
This is what the Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini has taught.
Rebirth is given.
So what Swami is telling is, even children, even a baby, whatever it demonstrates is only because of habits, past habits. Otherwise, people say it's a natural tendency for the baby to do whatever it's doing. Swami is saying, no, it has been a tendency which is acquired in past lifetimes, not necessarily genetic, not hereditary. It's something which habit has been brought with them from previous lifetimes.
And what tendencies is Swami referring to in a newborn? Just like the
everything. The ability to suck milk, ability to crawl, even to look, to listen, respond, everything.
Tantrum.
Yeah.
Tantrum takes a little while, sister. Not new. I don't know. The newborns also have tantrums.
That's what I'm saying. Throwing tantrums. It's just, I think, a little disappointed. This reading is so those habits, when we are saying cannot be, am I understanding correctly, cannot be rectified or resolved, or I should say correct, using our mind. So I'm just thinking, I identify there are some habits which naturally came. Maybe I'm 10 years old, 9 years old, and I identify these are the habits, they're not good, of course, because of my past karmas, whatever. So I cannot, it's hard to undo those and learn good habits because I'm using my brain to a reflection.
What are you using, sister?
My mind.
Okay.
My mind. I'm using my mind to really learn good habits.
Yeah, so what Swami is, I think, what Swami is telling, Swami starts off saying there's a two parallel streaks of lines. One is the physical, one is mental. So all the tendencies which we demonstrate are mental.
Right.
Okay. Even if a child is born from a mother, even the genetic material which the child is born with, maybe brain comes from the mother. Genetical. But the thoughts don't come from the brain. Thoughts come from the mental player. And for that mental plane, Swami says, is something which we have brought with us through previous habits in thinking, which people have trained themselves with. So the thing is, the mind is not genetically, hereditarily received. Mind is something which, out of habits in previous lifetimes, we have carried and brought forth with us. Just the physical stuff has been donated by parents. the home where we are going to live, which is the body,
Mm,
that
mm.
has been built and given by the body, by the parents. That is only the physical characteristics. There's complete difference between the physical characteristics given by the parents, hereditarily or genetically. The mind, the tendency is something, Swami says, is a habit in thinking and processing mentally, which has been brought by us from previous births. That's my understanding. I will stop here.
Yeah. Vasanas, what we call vasanas,
Yes.
impressions of the past life. It continues. It's just like a burrow. We go on practicing. Those things must have practiced in previous lives. So this life we are demonstrating it. A baby, just a newborn baby also can show those vasanas.
Sister Shivani, you said you were disappointed. I think that's where you started.
No. It's just I think I was misinterpreted, but now I'm clear. Thank you.
So the first sentence, I'm not quite understanding. The second sentence, sorry. The earlier actions of previous births for the human being's tendencies in the body. Something about hereditary there, right? In the Telugu or
Yeah, the Swami is saying, so it's
that one?
No, auntie.
స్వాభావ అభ్యాసములు పునః ఆచరణ వల్లనే సిద్ధించి ఉండును అని చెప్పక తప్పదు.
It's a second sentence after ivi swayam kritamulu.
There you know. పూర్వ జన్మ కర్మలు,
the actions of the previous life.
మానవుల యొక్క శరీరముల పోకడలు.
Pokadalu means the tendencies of the sharir. One second, I will just.
పోకడలు, can you just see?
I will just see. So pokadalu. Pokada. Behavior, conduct.
Behavior.
Motion, movement, departure.
శరీరముల పోకడలు means శరీరముల behavior.
Yeah, behavior of the bodies.
వారికి వంశపరంపరంగా సంక్రమించిన లక్షణ విశేషములు ఉండరాదా? Why not?
Swami, people will ask this question. Isn't people's behavior due to genetically or hereditarily acquired tendencies? Okay. Because people don't differentiate between what the body does and what the mind does. They say everything is inherited. My tendencies are also inherited, is generally people what they will say. What Swami is trying to differentiate is, yes, the body is inherited, but the tendency is not.
Okay.
I think that's what Swami say. So people say, oh, the body. People confuse mental activities with the physical activities. And this is the physical body has come from the parents, so isn't it hereditary? Vamsa parampara means that the lineage and the hereditary genetic contributions. Sankra means mixture, no auntie? Sankra.
సంక్రమించింది ఇది సంక్రమించున్న that what is it, సాంక్రమిక రోగం, which is contagious.
Oh, I see. Contagious.
Contagious is the word.
I see.
వంశపరంపరంగా సంక్రమించిన. It has come from.
Entered, encroach, something. Come together. Pass through. Something like that. Because Sankranti is something like that, It moves. It enters into another house. Sankramana. Movement and entry into another zodiac sign or something like that.
And Sankrama has the other meaning also. What I said just now.
Okay.
Sankramika.
Sankraminchina lakshana means like traits passed down.
Exactly.
So in a baby, because like the physical, it's all almost physical. Like everything that a baby, a newborn does is just.
Oh, the mind is also active. It may not be fully developed, but it is active.
Mm.
Just the way body is also not fully developed, but it's active. Mind is also not fully developed, but active. But we don't necessarily differentiate, okay, this is related to the body, that's related to the mind. That the behavior is always mentally initiated. They can be angry, they can scream, all that. Where did they learn? Or maybe you can say, oh, who is the father or mother who screams? Like that, people will ask. But the child also comes into the fold, which is conducive for its exhibition of its own tendencies. So it'll also look for places which are conducive, so which will be similar to some extent at least. That is the reason, though it's similar, is not inherited. Mental tendencies are similar but not inherited, whereas
Mm.
physical characteristics are inherited, which is what
That's
Swami is trying to
that's
try.
why 2 kids, or if you have 3 kids, they're not alike. So it's not our fault. It's just that's how they're born. Right? We can do so much. I mean, so much. So and it's always a saying, like we have 4 or 5 siblings. And always my mom used to say, you all are so different. So I can go back to her and tell her why.
That's right away. It's not our fault.
Lovely, lovely to see.
The Swami wants us to clearly look at the issues at hand and figure out what needs to be done where. I think it's all about that.
So, brother, the question is, okay, we born or child born, but it can be override, as with Swami's teachings, his grace and reflection and all those pieces, you can, but you born with that because, it's just passing on from birth to birth, right? And that's how you eventually make sure you realize who your true self is.
So I think that Swami has used the word tat parinamam. This transformation cannot be sought from physical things, in the material things in this world. We have to seek it from a mental plane or atmic plane.
Atmic plane.
Yes, I think that one.
And this sentence, it's impossible to demonstrate that the capacity to think, for example, has evolved out of physical matter.
Yes. Which is the evolution theory, which is taught in schools and everywhere. They will say from some proteins we started thinking, like the protein is thinking. That's the way they understand. And they're happy with that explanation, that samadhana. But
I think I'm not clear about that part, what Auntie read. That's true. Human nature and special quality in materialism.
Auntie.
Yeah, what did you say, Auntie, a while ago?
Shivani wants you to repeat.
Where did I?
No,
a while ago, I meant.
Just now, the sentence which I read.
Yeah.
Here it is written, it's impossible to demonstrate that the capacity to think.
Oh, okay.
For example, people say that our capacity, the Chintana Shakti or the thinking power, it is given by our physical matter. It's a combination of our physical matter which makes us think, but it's not so. Even the Chintana Shakti is given by our consciousness. The capacity to think is also given by consciousness.
Ooh.
The presence of consciousness, Chaitanya, that Chaitanya which is giving us to see, to think, to hear, everything what we do, at the back of all these things, consciousness is the present one.
So, sister, brain is not thinking, mind is thinking. You yourself answered. We think with the brain. Brain is not thinking. The mind is thinking, using the brain.
Yeah.
It uses it to communicate its thoughts. And that's how brain comes into being. It's a connector of sort. between the mind, mental and the physical realm.
So nothing is in our hand. Just ask for His grace then.
In your hand only, sister. The mind is you. Yes, it is not in the hands. But
I know. It's
nothing
impossible
is
to
in the
demonstrate.
hands is right. But it's in the mind.
It's impossible to demonstrate the capacity to think. So capacity to think
Is
Mind.
not evolved out of physical matter. It is not. Swami is trying to say that. It's impossible to say that capacity to think is coming from physical matter. It is the grace of the, I mean, the consciousness which is present in us is making us think.
I think in our the Wednesday study circle, we came across the same concept Swami was explaining in Sutra Vahini. I think he was just saying it so in a simple way, like nothing higher can come out of something that's lower.
Yeah.
If there's something that's coming out of something, it has to be lower than what it's coming out of. So
Pradhana.
yeah, so everything the entire creation has come out of consciousness or sentience. So it's not the other way around, how we might think that the physical world came into being, and then from that physical matter, some sentience or consciousness arose. That can never be the case. It always has to come the other way, from something higher to something lower.
After all, physical matter is only jada. Matter is jada. It's insentient when we think about that. That matter to it is activated or it is enlivened by the consciousness present in us. Swami is saying in Sutra Vahini also, no, Pradhana, which is insentient, cannot bring about any creation. That's what Swami is trying to tell us. So it goes back to the studies of consciousness, the hard problem of consciousness, which is being studied by great scientists. Now, in Globe and Mail, there was an article, it seems. This consciousness is separate. It is separate from the physical body. That now they are realizing that consciousness is something different from the physical body. That's
Now that they have said it, it must be true, sister.
Before that, it was not true.
In their mind, at least.
Thousands and thousands of millions of years ago, when Vedas came out, consciousness was born there.
Does anyone would like to discuss any point here?
We have finished this chapter.
Yeah.
Next week, will we have class or some people might be...
I think we should discuss this because all the active participants have left.
Oh, that's it.
That's why it's very silent.
That's why next week.
And there are people leaving this week also. Few who come for. I think they are all busy packing most probably. So I think if at all we are going to have, we can have only next week, and then we'll have to break. And we'll come back in January when everyone is back.
When everybody is back.
Then only it's a bit more, they have been actively participating and they should not miss out also, I think, some of the active participants. And of course, I will also be gone from next week and Kalyani is also left. So I think we can...
Today is the last class for this.
Maybe because it's an end of a chapter, I think it may be a good place to leave.
Okay.
Because if we start a chapter and then leave, things will be hanging in the air, I think. So because today we had only 5 people start with, now
Now it is 10.
10. I don't know. So I'll ask everyone if you all would like to have a session. Maybe we can have a session next week. We can also always repeat it again the following week also.
So
Some
15th,
okay.
it's 15th, next Sunday will be.
Next Sunday, yes, 15th.
15th.
But definitely after that we are going to break
I know.
because I will not be in town unless you all want to have the session. You can have the session.
I don't think so. I don't think. I mean, Kalyani is also leaving.
Yes, Kalyan is also leaving.
Yeah, no problem then. There's no point.
You guys are going to Prashanti?
Yeah,
No,
the
they're
pilgrimage
all going.
beyond
Shivani, are you not going?
No.
the Canadian pilgrimage, sister, is taking place. This time, Canada is leading the Christmas celebrations, and then we have a 2 days program. Swami has blessed us with the opportunity, so we are all leaving.
They have a couple of Swadhyaya workshops also going on. Maybe I should encourage everybody to take it up, avail the opportunity.
You
Different
have organizing, brother?
No, there were the Center for Human Values, Sudhir Bhaskar sir.
Yes,
The
yes.
team is
Oh,
conducting.
so no, we will be attending there in Canada, in Puttaparthi.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so that is happening. Yes, that's part of the schedule.
Wonderful workshops going on.
Can you come back, share your experience? And how is Prashanti? Love it. I went in Feb, so it's still lovely.
What?
So sorry, Auntie, go ahead.
Sorry. What workshops are going on? We don't know about that.
So, Auntie, there are talks which take place in Parthi.
Yeah, that's.
In addition to that, there is an institution called Center for Human Values, which is headed by Dr. Sudhir Bhaskar. And there are a couple of others who work with him. I think one is Amey Deshpande.
Oh.
So they have come up with some sort of a course. They're calling it Swadhyaya. And they touch upon various topics. It's a very structured course which they conduct.
Prashant.
In Prashantanli. And of course, they're trying to do it online also. Brother Prasad is one of the key organizers of that in our zone.
Okay. If
Okay.
we can.
Brother Prasad and Sister Ananti. But when we are in Parthi, there will be an in-person course when we are there. I think that's what he's referring to. But there are sessions which are online also.
Not yet. I think they're trying to bring them online from next year, one by one.
Okay, brother.
For now, they're only in person. I mean, they have 2.5 hours each. And they have, for example, the one workshop is Seva as Sadhana. The other one is Dhyana as a Sadhana. The third one is a simple practical model for ideal Sai human life based on Ramayana background. And the another was Ashtanga Yoga for wellness. The other one is Ramana, our daily therapy workshop. And they also added anger management. Each one is being conducted by different people. I mean, Amay Deshpande, Sudhir sir, and different other people in the organization. But they're open depending upon our availability, I mean, either in the morning or in the afternoon, after darshan or after lunch. It's available for everybody in a day-to-day life there and those visitors. But when pilgrimage comes, they'll spare those seats for pilgrimage participants, so that there will be only for a few days. So the class, they can take only 20 to 30 people. So they'll give the preference to pilgrimage people first, particularly they international. They come only once in a while. Like that, yeah.
Okay, so I think it's 4:15 today.
Yeah,
we can close. If everyone is fine, we will halt the sessions and meet next year.
Next year, 25.
12th, I would say, would be the best. I think January 12th. I think it'll be January 12th.
But what about Wednesday class?
That also has to hold, Auntie.
Okay. Okay then.
Okay. Is everyone okay? Means everyone silent, I guess. You all can have the class if we are not present also. The Zoom link can be, you can come and have it.
Who else? Who else? There is nobody.
Facilitation. Yeah, we'll meet in January, I guess.
Okay, January 12th then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then that will be nice because then we'll have a full complement of people. Everyone will be so hopefully energized.
And we will review what we have learned so far.
Yes, sure. Yes, please. Okay, then we can close the session if everyone is
Thank you
fine.
so much.
Okay.
No, Uncle, did you say this Wednesday we will have or won't have this coming Wednesday?
I will talk to you.
Okay.
Sure.
Depends on how things are going. I will.
Sure, yes, absolutely.
You can let us know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Yes.
Anyway, Happy New Year, Holy New Year, I guess. Next year is auspicious for all of us.
Let it be. Mangala Karma.
Right. We'll close with Samasta Loka, sir. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Thank you and safe travels to
Safe
Safe
everyone.
travels.
Take care.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Sairam.